All right, it's time to get ready for our mid-unit 9 test. And so for the first one, it's multiplication. With multiplication, you don't have to get a common denominator. We're just gonna factor and cancel everything out. So I'm gonna put a bar, this we're gonna put my final factors. And so for the top left, this one's 4 terms, which means we're gonna factor by grouping, split into 2 groups, and then we'll GCF, GCF, and GCF. And so on my first group, I can take out a 2x squared, and I'm left with x plus 1. On the back group, we can take out a 3, and again, we're left with x plus 1. So the x plus 1s are in common. They're going to come down together, and we're left with 2x squared plus 3. On the top right, it's 3 terms, so it's x method. We'll think what multiplies a negative 15 and adds to 2. And so that's be 5 and negative 3. My a is 1, and so x plus 5, x minus 3. X squared minus 9 is difference of squares. That becomes x plus 3, x minus 3. And then this one you can GCF, we can take out a 2, and we're left with 2x squared plus 3. So then once everything's factored, we'll just cancel out anything that's the same on top and bottom 1 for 1. So 2x squared plus 3 is on top and bottom. X minus 3 is on top and bottom. Nothing else is the same. So we have x plus 1, x plus 5, and then 2, x plus 3. If you wanted to check it in your calculator to make sure you got it right, I've already put it in my calculator because this one's kind of lengthy. But for y1, I put in this equation just as it is. Put in the 2 fractions with multiplication. And then in y2, I put in my answer. And then if we got it right, these should be the same graph because we just simplified. We didn't change anything. And so if I were to look at the graph, it should be the same, but it's a little bit faster to go to the table. And when you look at the table, if we did it right, everything should match on the y values. And so it looks like everything looks good. There may be some instances like this where you have an error on one and a number on the other. We'll talk about that later, why that is. But everything that has numbers should be the same, which they are, and so that is correct. You can always check it in the calculator like that. Number 2 is division. When you have division, you're gonna flip the fraction that immediately follows the division. So x plus 7 is gonna come to the top, x cubed plus 3x squared is gonna come to the bottom, and it becomes multiplication. And now it's just like number 1. I'm just gonna factor everything. So on this top left, I can take out a 7x, and we're left with x plus 3. On that one, it's x plus 7, nothing we can do with that one. On this one, it's gonna be x method. We're gonna think what multiplies a negative 35 and adds to 2. That's gonna be 7 and negative 5, which is gonna be x plus 7, x minus 5. And on this one, we can take out an x squared, and we're left with x plus 3. So now that everything's factored, we'll cancel. We've got x plus 7, we got x plus 3. We also have an x here and an x squared here. There's no plus or minus, they're monomials, and so I can cancel out. So I'm gonna take away the squared with one of those x's. So take away 1x from each. And so we're left with 7 on top of x, x minus 5. And again, we could check it in the calculator, but that is correct. Number 3. It's division again, so 4x is going to come to the top, 3x squared minus 9x plus 27 is going to come to the bottom. It becomes multiplication. X cubed plus 27, that's the sum of cubes. Sum of cubes equation is a cubed plus b cubed is equal to a plus b. A squared minus ab plus b squared. And so I need to find my a, find my b, and then just plug it into this formula. So on this one, my a is going to be x, and my b is going to be 3, and we plug it in. And so it's going to be x plus 3, x squared, minus 3x plus 9. On the top right, we have 4x. Bottom left, I can pull out a 9, and we're left with x plus 3. And then on the bottom right, I can take out a 3, and we're left with x squared minus 3x plus 9, and then that won't factor any further. And so then we can cancel. I've got this with this. I've got this with this. And that should be it. So I've got 4x left on top, and 9 times 3 is 27 on bottom. Going on to the next page. We got one that has multiplication and division. So again, we're going to flip the one that immediately follows the division. 4x squared plus 9, x squared plus 7x. It becomes multiplication, and now we're just going to factor everything. So it becomes like 6 problems in one. And so on the top left, we have 4 terms. We're gonna be grouping again. And so on this first one, we can take out x squared, and we're left with 2x plus 3. This one's already 2x plus 3, so we can take out like a 1. You don't have to put that 1, but it's essentially we're taking out a 1. And so 2x plus 3s are in common. they'll come together as 1, and we're left with x squared plus 1. On the middle term, we're going to think what multiplies to 28 and adds to 11. That's going to be 7 and 4. And so x plus 7, x plus 4. And then on this one, I don't think there's anything we can do with that. 4x squared plus 9. On the bottom left, we're going to think what multiplies to 24 and adds to 10. So that's going to be 6 and 4. So x plus 6, x plus 4. And then this one's going to go to 4x squared plus 9, 4x squared minus 9. That's going to go further. So we're going to have 4x squared plus 9, and then 2x plus 3, and 2x minus 3. And then on this one, we can take out an x, and we're left with x plus 7. Now it's time to cancel. So I got 2x plus 3 on top and bottom. We've got x plus 7 on top and bottom. We've got x plus 4 on top and bottom. 4x squared plus 9 on top and bottom. And I believe that's it. So on top, we're left with x squared plus 1. And on bottom, we've got x plus 6, 2x minus 3, and an x. All right, number 5. This one is subtraction. My LCD between 12 and 16. So 12 is 12, 24, 36, 48. 48 is going to be where they meet. And so we're going to have 48x squared is what I want for both of them. And so on the right-hand side, we have the x squared, but to get up to 48, we're going to multiply by 3. And on the left-hand side, we're going to multiply by 4x. And so on top, I've got 4x times 7 is 28x. It is subtraction, so minus 5 times 3, which is 15. And then there's nothing else I can do with that, so we'll put the denominator on bottom. And we're done. And again, if you want to check this, we can check it in our calculator. So I'll do one of these examples in the calculator as well. And so we've got 7 over 12x minus 5 over 16x squared. Oops, I forgot the x. All right, and then my answer is 28x minus 15 over 48x squared. And so then I'll go into my table again and just check. It looks like everything's matching up, and so we got it correct. Number 6, there's nothing in common. When you have pluses or minuses, you can't tear it apart. It's got to be all or nothing. So this side needs x plus 5, and this side needs 2x minus 3. And this one again is subtraction. And so one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change this 2x to a negative 2x and change it to addition. And then I don't have to worry about that sign anymore. And so on the left-hand side, we're going to have to FOIL that. And so 2x times x is going to be 2x squared. 2x times 8 is 16x, minus 3x, and minus 24. And then on the other side, we're going to have negative 2x squared and negative 10x. And then we'll combine all of our like terms. So 2x squared and negative 2x squared cancel out. My x's, I have 16 minus 3, which is 13, minus 10, which is 3x. And so I'm done with my x's. And then minus 24. And 3x minus 24, just in case it cancels out later, I can take out a 3, which would be left with x minus 8, and then we'll put our denominators on bottom, x plus 5 and 2x minus 3. Nothing cancels out, and so we're done. Number 7, I'm going to factor this one first, and so we'll think what multiplies to negative 2 and adds to 1. That's going to be 2 and negative 1. And so x plus 2 and x minus 1. So they both currently have the x plus 2. This one needs x minus 1. The left side doesn't need anything. And so on the left side, we're just going to have the x. This one is plus, so it doesn't change anything. 3x minus 3 from distributing the 3. We'll combine our x's to get 4x minus 3. I can't do anything with that. We'll put our denominators on bottom. Nothing cancels out. We're done. Number 8, one more. This one's subtraction. And so this one on bottom, we have 4 terms. We'll do the factor by grouping. We'll take out an x squared. We're left with 2x minus 5. Plus, there's nothing I can take out, so it's a 1, 2x minus 5. So the 2x minus 5's come together, and x squared plus 1's come together. And so I'm done factoring. Over here, I can take out a 2x, and we're left with 2x minus 5. And so both sides have 2x minus 5. This side, though, needs x squared plus 1, and this side needs 2x. Now we have that common denominator. Again, I'm going to go ahead and change my signs over here and make it addition, so that I don't have to worry about that sign change again later. Excuse me. And so we'll distribute this 2x to everything. So we have 2x cubed plus 4x. Now on this other side, we're going to have negative 2x cubed minus 2x minus 3x squared and minus 3. So combining like terms, I've got negative x cubed. Whoops. I'm sorry, I looked at that wrong. My x cubes are actually, they're gone, they cancel out. I've got negative 3x squared, that's gone. And then that's plus 2x minus 3. And then the only thing I would do is I could see if I could take this further by taking out a negative. I always like my first term to be positive whenever I'm factoring. And so I was going to change all my signs. And there's nothing that multiplies 9 and adds a negative 2, so that's going to be done. And I'll put my denominator on bottom, 2x, 2x minus 5, and x squared plus 1. And that finishes it. All right, number 9. I'm going to factor that. What multiplies a 4 and adds a 5? That's going to be 4 and 1. And so x plus 4 and x plus 1. This side's going to be what multiplies a negative 8 and adds a 2. It's going to be 4 and negative 2. And so x plus 4 and x minus 2. And so both sides have x plus 4. This side needs x plus 1. And this side needs x minus 2. This one is addition, so no sign changes. Everything stays the same. And so we're going to have x squared minus x minus 2x plus 2, and then plus 10x plus 10. This is my only x squared. And then I've got negative 1, negative 2, and positive 10. So that's going to be negative 3 plus 10 is plus 7x, and then plus 12. And then we'll see if we can factor that further. If there's anything that multiplies a 12 and adds a 7, 3 and 4 work. And so that's going to become x plus 3, x plus 4. And then we'll put our denominators on bottom, which is x minus 2, x plus 4, and x plus 1, which x plus 4's cancel out, and you're left with x plus 3 over x minus 2, x plus 1. All right, and now we'll move on into solving. So solving, again, you need to have that least common denominator. On this one, it's going to be 3 and x minus 5. Based on this LCD, my x cannot be 5 because that would make it this LCD be 0. And you can't have a denominator of 0. And so this one has x minus 5, this one needs the 3. This one has a 3, it needs the x minus 5. This one has x minus 5, this one needs the 3. And then I don't need the denominators anymore, it's time to just solve on top. And so that becomes 3x minus 3 plus x squared minus 5x is equal to 12. Anytime you have x squareds and x's, you got to move everything to one side. So I'm going to move the 12 over here and go ahead and combine like terms at the same time. So it's x squared. That becomes negative 2x. And then if I subtract the 12 over, that's negative 15 equals 0. So I move the 12 over here. And then we'll factor. Think what multiplies a negative 15 and adds a negative 2. That's going to be negative 5 and positive 3. And so it's x minus 5, x plus 3 equals 0, which means x equals 5 and x equals negative 3. But x can't be 5, so it's only x equals negative 3. And again, I'll show another check in the calculator if we wanted to check this one. I'm going to go ahead and store my negative 3 in for x. So negative 3 store x. And then I'll put this in just as it is and make sure they're equivalent on both sides. So on the left-hand side, I've got x minus 1 over x minus 5 plus x over 3, and that equals negative 1/2. On the right side, I've got 4 over x minus 5, negative 1/2. It works. All right, x squared minus 9 becomes x plus 3, x minus 3. And so this one has x minus 3, it needs x plus 3. This one has x plus 3, it needs x minus 3. Because my LCD is x plus 3, x minus 3, I know my x cannot be plus or minus 3. Anything else is fair game, but those don't work, and now I don't need the denominators anymore. Time to solve on top. So that becomes 9x minus 27. This is a subtraction. Minus 2x plus 8, we had to change the signs, equals 2x plus 6. All right, I'll go ahead and combine like terms over here first. So we've got 7x minus 19 is equal to 2x plus 6. We'll move the x's over here, so subtract 2x, and we'll add 19 over here. So we get 5x is equal to 25, and so x equals 5. All right, last page, number 12. This one, if I were to factor that, I think what multiplies a negative 8 and adds a 2, that's going to be 4 negative 2. So x plus 4, x minus 2. And these other fractions should kind of help you out with the factoring as well. And so this one has x plus 4, it needs x minus 2. This one needs x plus 4. My x cannot be negative 4 or positive 2 based on that denominator. And then I don't need the denominators anymore. And so x plus 4 is equal to 2x plus 1 plus 2x minus 4. That's from distributing the 2 over there. So x plus 4 is equal to 4x minus 3. We'll move this x over here, so that's 3x. Move the negative 3 over here, 7. Divide by 3, x equals 7 over 3. All right, and then number 13. On this one, my LCD is going to be between 3 and 4. They go up to 12, so my LCD is going to be 12x. So x cannot be 0. So this one needs a 12, this one needs a 3, and this one needs a 4x. All right, so that's 4x. There's a subtraction, so we're going to change the signs, and that becomes negative 3x plus 18 equals 24. So that becomes x equals, we'll subtract 18, 6. X equals 6, and that's my answer. Number 14 and 15, this is the inverse variation, where you do the x1, y1 equals x2, y2. And so the pressure of a gas at a constant temperature varies inversely as the volume V. If the volume is 450 when the pressure is 30, so that's the first group, 450 times 30 is equal to, find the pressure when the volume is 750. And so we don't know the pressure. So we'll just put it in our calculator. So 450 times 30. And we'll divide by 750. So P equals 18, and this is pressure, which is pound per square inch. And last one, number 15, varies inversely. The time it takes Luke and Larry, so that's 2 people to complete a task, is 15 hours. How long would it take if they recruited 3 more people? So Luke, Larry, and 3 more people, that's 5 people, and we don't know how long it would take. So 2 times 15 is 30. Divide by 5, and we get 6, and we're talking about hours. So if they recruited 3 more people, it would only take them 6 hours. And that's it for our review. Let me know if you have any questions.